So as a bit of a reflection, because I look back. I mean, sometimes you're so busy working and just what are we doing tomorrow? What are we doing tomorrow? You don't ever get a chance to go and say, you know what? It's amazing what we've achieved already during the past 4 years, and what we're going to do in the future is going to be even better. But I mean, I look back on it, and I look at that video, and I go, this is incredible. I mean, we have such an amazing community. We've built so many. There's so many connections being built. There's a lot of. I mean, people are playing games now. They're streaming now. It's just a fraction of what's going to be in the final game. But I keep reading stuff online and seeing these YouTube videos or seeing Twitch streams, and I'm going, wow, that looks cool. And I can't believe that all these people spent an hour trying to find someone stranded on the far side of a moon somewhere or an asteroid field. And generally, most gaming communities tend to sort of shoot each other and troll each other. And I know we have a little bit of that in our community, but I think I would say more often than not we have a community that helps each other out, and they help each other play the game, understand the game. I mean, they do a much better. You guys do a much better job than us in terms of actually educating on how to play the game. We're going to get better at that. But we're busy building sort of some of the core tech and everything. But because of you guys, we've sort of grown. So looking back at it, if you take a look at it here, I mean, this is sort of a timeline we thought it'd be interesting to lay out. Obviously we launched 4 years ago tomorrow, back in October of 2012. I look a little younger there, by the way. It's a little bit like the US presidency, I think. You sort of age a lot as you get into it. And so, obviously we got the money, but then you've got to get the offices and start hiring people. So our first office opened in January of 2013 in Austin, and I think we started with 11 or 12 or 13 people. Then we opened the LA offices in April of that year, where we had, I think, about 5 or 6 people. We managed to get the Hangar module out in 2013, which was actually quite an achievement, considering we were still just opening offices and had a very small number of people. But that was, the GamesCon at 2013, which I think would always be a very special memory for me, because it was our sort of first event with all you guys in person, and it was pretty amazing. But at the end of 2013, we had 48 people, which is a lot less than we have now. Let's see if it moves. I know, Eric. I don't know why it's not moving. Yeah, red 1. There you go. Okay. So and then we're lucky enough to have my brother and some other key, old friend. I mean, I have Nick Elms, who was working on this presentation, who's our creative director of Foundry 42. So Nick and myself and my brother and Phil Meller all grew up together, and then there's a few other key members of Foundry 42 that are here that we've known for years. We worked on Star Lancer together. So, for instance, Derek Sr. and later on Paul Jones, and they're all here around the audience. So get a drink with them later on. But we opened Magic. We're very lucky to have them come aboard in January, and it was mostly because of your guys' support that I felt comfortable enough to go to my brother, who was, he was at Traveler's Tales making Lego games, doing really well, and they all had very safe, secure jobs in big corporate America. And I said, hey, you want to come and do something a bit more risky, but potentially more fun? And they said, well, there's only so many years you can make Lego games. And they were lucky enough to get him aboard. So we worked really hard to get the Arena Commander out that year, which was a combination between the UK team coming on board and the US teams working on it. And by the end of 2014, we had 161 people. So that's from 48 to 161 is pretty big. And we got 1.0 out by December of that year, which had a whole bunch of ships. And like I said, the dogfight model was out in the middle of June. And we started to do the first performance capture for Foundry 42 in April of 2015. Let's see if this will advance now. Oops, hang on. Well, that's the TV screen. It's not advancing for some. What's going on? There we go. All right, they've advanced it. I think they're advancing it up in the booth, and I'm not advancing it. I don't know why the advance key's not working, but the switch the screen key works for some reason. So anyway, and then in 2015, besides shooting Squadron 42, we got the Frankfurt office, and they've made massive contributions. You are actually going to see a lot of some of the core work they've done. We've got an incredibly talented team there. We have Brian Chambers representing from Frankfurt here. So if you see him with his kind of rocker hair hanging out, he's as cool in person as he looks. We got 2.0 out at the end of last year, which was a huge milestone because that had the 64-bit large world, multi-cruise ships, and a lot of the beginnings of the core tech that's going to power Star Citizen. The end of last year, we had 258 people, again, because of you guys. And interesting enough, Manchester, so our Foundry 42 offices become the biggest and still ends up being. Then of June of this year, we got 2.4 out, which is the first iteration of Star Citizen Alpha that has some level of persistence, and that is just going to increase as we go on. So your character will keep and keep his items and eventually sort of get wear and tear and grow old and all the rest of the stuff. So that'll be very cool. And we launched 2.5, which had sort of an extra sort of spawning area, Grim Hex, which I hear a lot of people camp out and shoot people when they try to get out of it at the moment in August. So you got Outlaw and good guys. All right, let me try to see if this is going to move. Eric, can you advance that, please? Help me, save me. There you go. So today we have 363 people, which is an amazing amount. I know. So those are the numbers split between the places. This is all because of you. We are entirely crowdfunded, and it's your guys' enthusiasm and support, and everyone out there that's watching this, and everyone that's backed the game, that are enabling us to basically build this game of definitely my dreams. I think most of the developers working on it, and I'm pretty confident your guys' dreams, in a way that we're unfettered and we're trying to just go for it. I mean, to quote Shia LaBeouf, which I'm, just do it!